Hello, Professor. My name is Ezine Aso, and I'm a member of the Group 2 team. We're exploring the impact of influencer marketing on consumer purchase decision and also consumer behavior in the long run. There has been a rise in the number of influencers who are marketing. This has been a shift from traditional marketing. Consumers now have very short attention span, and having to identify a particular influencer in a particular niche can also influence their purchasing decision and consumer behavior in the long run. In this case, we define a social media influencer as someone who has a very significant following and is perceived to be authentic and also knowledgeable in a particular space, niche, or service area. Influencers are often now known as key opinion leaders and often drive consumer purchase behavior due to their depth of knowledge and also trust that they have built with their audience over a long period of time. This has positive and negative implication on a brand, and we'll explore this as we show you through our presentation. Research has shown that consumers now perceive influencers to be a trusted friend in quotes, and this degree of relationship has a long way in impacting how consumers purchase certain goods and services. Because influencers are able to appeal to the psychographic needs of consumers, affecting their motivation, ability, and opportunity to purchase certain goods and services. People are often want to be told what to do, right? A lot of research have shown this, and in the era of social media and launching of different campaigns and challenges via social media like TikTok and Instagram, there has been a lot of change in how consumers are able to interact with certain brands and services, both negatively and positively. Finally, you might want to ask, how does influencer marketing work and how much power do these influencers have, right? It starts off by identifying the right influencer, right, for a particular niche. This is very important because influencers often stay within a specific niche of service or product. Also, influencers make content, right, for social media to suit their unique audience needs, and they launch campaign and manage the campaign to make sure that they are able to influence consumer behavior for a particular product, service, and niche. It's very important that this management is taken into consideration because it's one thing launching the right influencer marketing, and it's also another thing managing it to achieve the outcome and in overall influence purchase decision for consumers. I hand off to my colleague to take us through the next slide. Thank you.
There are a couple of theoretical ideas and frameworks that can help us understand the impact that influencers can have on their followers. First, introduced in 1956 by Horton and Wohl, is a concept called parasocial relationships. These describe one-sided emotional connections where followers believe influencers to be their friends or mentors. This perception of closeness creates a sense of authenticity and trust that can impact behavior. Next is the social credibility theory. This theory shows that the perceived credibility of influencers has a relationship with the ability of those influencers to change behavior. Dimensions that are associated with source credibility are attractiveness, expertise, and trustworthiness, and it's noteworthy that influencers tend to market themselves highly in most, if not all, of those dimensions. Finally, there's the principle of social proof, which highlights how when influencers are seen as trusted opinion leaders, it can lead to a network of validation that can create a positive feedback loop. There are also some societal, cultural, and environmental dimensions in how influencers impact behavior. Looking toward social aspects, parasocial relationships create an emotional connection and position influencers as relatable figures whose endorsements feel genuine. Influencers also create a sense of community and connection with their followers, which creates trust and makes their followers more likely to act on their recommendations. Through this trust, influencers also forge loyalty from their followers, which makes influencers critical members in their decision-making process. In terms of cultural factors, influencers can play a critical role because they adapt their content to align with the specific values, tastes, and norms of the target audience. This allows influencers to adapt to cultural trends in ways like promoting certain beauty standards or embracing local fashion trends that significantly increases their reach and engagement. Looking towards environmental factors, COVID-19 significantly accelerated digital interactions, and as a result, social media has become a greater source of entertainment, a discovery engine, and also a purchasing gateway for many people who use the internet.
For our primary research, we created and distributed a survey to obtain real-life feedback on consumers' perceptions of influencers and their impact on consumer behaviors. The survey contained 9 questions, and the ages of the respondents ranged from 25 to 44, with a few outliers between the ages of 54 and 66. As noted on the slide, 88% of consumers in the survey stated they have purchased a product because of an influencer's recommendation. 76% of respondents indicated they are more likely to purchase products endorsed by influencers who align with their values and lifestyles. These findings suggest that consumers are eager to form close relationships with influencers who provide valuable information, as this fulfills their need for competence. It not only helps consumers stay informed about trends, but it also deepens their desire to build a personal connection with the influencer. Here, we see that 64% of respondents perceive influencers more influential than traditional ads, and that transparency and expertise are frequently mentioned as influencer characteristics. As we have learned throughout this course, expertise and trustworthiness are two of the three characteristics required to be considered a credible source, which can influence consumers' attitudes about a product or offering. Consumers also strive for a sense of personal connection when making purchasing decisions, often forming parasocial relationships. These relationships enhance the perceived trustworthiness of the influencer and their endorsements, thereby amplifying the influencer's overall impact on the consumer's behavior. Finally, we utilized a chi-square test to test for significance in our findings and set a p-value of 0.05. The findings presented in this slide reinforce our conclusion that individuals base their purchasing decision on influencer recommendations, prioritizing influencers who align with their lifestyles and values.
Thank you, Andrea. In influencer culture, very little professional insight is present. Social media platforms control content visibility in the form of time, ads, etc. There is a trust factor associated with consumer behavior and influencer culture. It involves identifying with the individual, relating to them, their level of attractiveness, and autonomy. However, influencer culture has lost its luster, and consumers are sometimes unable to blur between the lines of authenticity and commercial intent. There is a lack of knowledge to the consumer on corporate sponsorships, hidden financial incentives, and a lack of genuine personal interest. So, how do we change the perspective of the average consumer? Some food for thought would be to provide high effort, valid information, education for the consumer, provided of QR codes, hyperlinks, embedded behind the scenes informative videos on how products are made and what goes behind a service. Help the consumer to make a well-informed purchasing decision. Further research indicates that the dual mediation hypothesis further bolsters the behavioral shift strategy by shaping beliefs, affecting emotional responses, and ultimately altering consumer behavior. Given the primary and secondary research, a strategy built on counter messaging can challenge cognitive biases. Educational campaigns targeting the consumer trust will be helpful in changing the attitudes of the average consumer. Messages such as "Ask before you buy." Now on to discuss the marketing insights.
Thanks, Kristen. So I'll be touching on how marketers can leverage parasocial relationships to drive consumer behavior. PSRs influence consumers in three ways. First, through authenticity, which builds trust. People buy from influencers they see as genuine and relatable. Second, through shared values, because consumers connect more with influencers who reflect their own beliefs. And finally, through action, which is driven by trust. Honest endorsements lead to stronger purchase intent. To capitalize on these insights, marketers should take a dual approach. First, by partnering with authentic influencers who engage audiences with behind-the-scenes content or personal storytelling. And second, by monitoring unaffiliated influencers who mention your brand. They may become partners in the future or risk to brand reputation. Marketers can also use the VALS framework to match influencers with specific consumer segments. For example, Nike does this by partnering with pro athletes, the achievers, and fitness enthusiasts, the experiencers, driving 85% of its media impact value in 2023. And lastly, when it comes to the principle of social proof, likeness builds trust and brand loyalty, especially when dealing with consumers following influencers that they relate to. And monitoring for potential negative word of mouth is important. especially when it comes to consumers spreading bad experiences to other consumers about a particular influencer and indirectly about a brand. Alright, that's the end of our presentation. I hope you all learned a bit about influencers, how they influence purchasing decisions, and were able to take a bit away about how to deter and or use them for the benefit of your brand. Thank you.